Hey guys, so we're gonna have a little chat about the international on my live stream. For you guys that missed the live stream, which was most of you because I didn't really announce it. We talked a little bit about focus. Doesn't want to. Anyways, the international out there. I'm gonna put the headset on because I've been kind of monkeying around using the headset. I'm gonna use the GoPro on a headset, and we're gonna go out to the international and talk about it a little bit. So we will see you out there. All right, guys. So on to talking about the international and what we're going to be doing to this thing. So I thought I would do a little rundown. I talked about it a little bit, and then a couple guys asked on the live stream what I figured we were going to be doing to it. Now, I've been looking for one of these for quite a long, well, I shouldn't say a long time, but quite a while. I've always liked these trucks. There's a few guys that kind of the inspiration kind of came from. Now, originally I was going to do a frame swap on the truck when I first decided, or first thought about building one, but I'm going to not do a frame swap. I don't think, unless I build a frame. That's way too much work, I think, for what I want to do right now. And I'd like to get this thing, I would like to have this thing on the road before snow flies. So here like November-ish. So we got to get the shorty finished. I got some stuff to do to the 3/4 ton as soon as we get that figured out, and then I got some stuff to do to the race truck and build this. So we got a bunch of work to do. Now, mind you, most of the stuff I have for this truck, I'm not going super extravagant. We're going to use a used engine, probably, I want to say I'm going to leave a stock turbo on it, but I don't know. Probably to start with, we'll actually leave the engine stock. Let's say that. But originally I was talking before, I was going to do an MV 5600. I'm not going to do the MV 5600. One of my buddies I was talking to, and he's like, you know what? You're going to do that and not like it. So why spend the time doing it? And I was like, wow, you know what? You're not wrong. So that being said, we will not be doing that. So I'm going to do an Allison conversion. So we're going to use an Allison out of a Duramax in it, which will be really nice to use. And with the exhaust brake and all that stuff, it will be minty. So let's get into the truck a little bit. The truck is, I want to say it's a 1976, but let's just make sure. It is a 1976 International. It is a loadstar 1600. It has a 304 gas engine in it right now, which obviously that's not going to do. Need to put a little springy on that. So I did actually try to start this thing, and it's locked up. I did pour a couple liters of ATF fluid down the carburetor to maybe try to lube it up, maybe, so that it'll free up, but really doesn't make any difference because I don't plan on using this engine, so it doesn't matter. But it would have been kind of cool to let it, run it and hear it run and, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to say that likely not going to happen because it wouldn't do anything. It was like locked solid. So we're going to be pulling this out, obviously. A rad and intercooler that I'd like to use in the truck will be out of a 6-liter Ford. So I'll buy a new rad for it, a new intercooler. I would like to buy an aftermarket intercooler, but we'll see how funds go at that given time for the project, because I don't want to get super carried away with this thing. I want to build it so that if you guys wanted to build it at home, on a budget, you would be able to build the truck kind of idea. Now, some of the stuff that I'm going to do probably might be out of the scope of some of the home guys' ability because of tooling. Not so much because you can't do it, is because of the tooling side of things. But for the most part, most of it you'll be able to do. Now, like I'm going to do an air suspension front and rear. That is not something you have to do. I want to get the truck low and I want it to ride nice, so that's why I'm doing that. But so we're going to do the intercooler and rad out of a 6-liter, I think. Anyway, as it stands, that's what it's going to be out of. Obviously, if you look at the space here, there is not enough space to put a Cummins in there, so we are going to have to go into the firewall, which we're going to have to go a ways into the firewall by the look of it, which is okay, is what it is. when you're doing this type of stuff. It just, you know, you want it, you got to do it. So we will be pulling this out, pulling the original transmission out of it. I'm going to be using, now I bought for you guys that don't know, I bought a 2002 Bluebird school bus for parts. So we're going to be using the front axle out of it, the rear differential out of it, the power steering box, I think, and the hydro boost out of it. I'm not sure exactly how all that's going to fit, but that's what seems to be the easiest thing to do. It seemed to be the easiest for me to get my hands onto, for it not to be ridiculously cost-wise. So, but that being said, I don't know. The engine is definitely going to have to be up as high as we can get it in the frame, because I want to lower the truck, right? So the lower the truck is, the higher the oil pan needs to be. So I think what I'm going to do to start with, when I rip the bus apart, which I'll do videos of because everybody likes destruction videos, I'm going to take the axle from the bus, and we were going to take all of the springs and everything out of the front of this, and I'm going to lay basically this pad on here and see how low the truck is. If the truck is low enough like that, perfect. If it's not, then obviously we'll have to do more surgery and maybe do a frame drop or something in the front. Preferably not, but if we have to, we have to, because I want the truck to look cool. So, and still function. That's the reason I want the heavy duty diffs, is I want the weight capability of them. So basically the limiting factor is going to be the tires in this case, I believe, anyway. So the rear end is going to get, we're not going to use the rear end obviously, because it is Dayton and I don't want Dayton, so we definitely aren't using that. And that's the reason I'm not using the fronts too. If you wanted to use Dayton's, it, you know, like just your wheel combination, your tire combination, and then it's Dayton's. So anyways, we are going to cut the frame off somewhere in here. I'm not sure just where yet. Somewhere in here. So the axle will go ahead a little bit, because I want the truck, like if you look at the back of my white truck over here, where it is, it's kind of at the back of the tires here. Oh, the bumper would probably be like, let's say right here, and then come to the front of the truck. See the front of the truck versus it. So that truck is actually already longer than this truck is. So gives you an idea lengthwise. And then widthwise, it's actually pretty close to the same width as well, because if you put that truck on the trailer, this truck came on the trailer without having to take the fenders off. That truck will not. Well, it might with those tires. I shouldn't say that. So it's really no wider and it's not longer than that. It's just that it's big looking. So I think it's cool. I think they're cool. So yeah, so that's what we're going to do for diffs. The air suspension, I'll get into that more when we're actually doing it, because I don't even know what it's going to be like just yet. But so it's going to have a 12 valve Cummins in it, stock 12 valve Cummins, or stock 350 horsepower. The Allison automatic transmission, the diffs out of the bus, so it'll be 4-wheel disc brake with hydraulic brakes. I wanted to do that so anybody could drive the truck, and then you don't have to have special license or any of that. And then I would imagine the insurance will probably be cheaper too, but we'll see. But on this truck, the biggest reason that I bought this truck is I've been looking for one of these. I've actually looked at a couple even this year, is that this truck is not rotten. There's a little bit of rust here and there, like there's some rust here, a little bit underneath here, which is pretty typical. It's the rocks come off here, you know, and there's a little bit of surface rust here and there kind of idea. The truck is not perfect, but it is in really good shape. Like there's a little tiny bit of rust right there, but usually on these things, the bottom of the doors are rotten. Usually the bottom of the doors are rotten, and the bottom of the doors on this thing aren't rotten. Up here in the cowling area is usually all rotten. This one's not. Across the top where the mice like to get in is usually rotten. The hood is in really good shape. Like it's not a new truck, right? It's a 76. Somebody's whacked something here, so we'll have to eventually do something about that. For now, we won't worry about it. But the crunch. And then it's split right here, which is very common for them to break. Grill's in pretty decent shape. Needs a little bit of banging and tapping and stuff, but you know, it's in pretty good shape. And there again, like I said, hopefully you guys can hear me. It's starting to get a little windy, but it's not all rotten anywhere. So in very good shape, especially for what I paid for it. And it is an Alberta truck, so that should make it a little bit easier, hopefully, for registering it. I'm hoping. I am just going to register it as basically like a pickup truck. But even the interior, I'm not going to monkey with the interior much, to be even totally honest. Is that even the, like I can get a brand new windshield for it, not horribly expensive, like 300 bucks installed ish. But even in the interior in this thing, like according to this, it's got 48,000 miles on it, original miles on it. It hasn't got any miles on it. You know, like it's all here. The gauges aren't hammered on it. Like, don't get me wrong, it's there again, an old truck that hasn't been driven, but even the, like I said, I'm gonna get the seat, I think, reupholstered. For now, I'm probably not even gonna change it out. Obviously, we'll have to get down in here and clean up any rust or anything down in there because I don't want it to get worse. But the truck's not gonna sit outside either, so as soon as we get it running and driving, it'll be parked inside after that. So, well, other than when I'm driving it, obviously. But I think that'll give us a rundown on this thing. I don't know if there's any other questions that you guys have for me on it. Stuff that I'm gonna do or not gonna do, or you know, any of that type of stuff. So let me know in the comments what you think. Should be a pretty sweet project, I think. Yeah, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, so that gives a wrap up on what we're, as it stands right now, what's going to go on with the International. Kind of a rundown, I think, is what's going to happen to it anyways, as far as right now. You know how that works. Things can change and ideas will change and all that type of stuff. But obviously, when we get into it, we will get into doing that. So like, subscribe, hit me down in the comments, and remember, it's not rocket science.